Good morning again. Another beautiful, although cloudy day here in Southern California. Very peaceful this time of the morning. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about the difference between who you might be really and who you might want to be, and why you might want to be someone other than who you really are. And in the self-help spiritual community, there's a lot of talk about being yourself. Just let go of other notions and just be your true, authentic self. And I like that. But there's a little bit more to the story than that, and that is that we're all wonderfully imperfect, and the being imperfect makes us interesting and creative and puts us in situations where we need to come up with some really interesting solutions for ourselves, or else we maybe feel that our true authentic selves are not up to the task of being who our aspirational selves are, who we want to be, in other words. So just as an example of that, maybe it's difficult to get up in the mornings, and maybe you'd really like it if it wasn't. And it might be an unnatural act for you to get up in the morning, but for whatever reason, and you're allowed to have whatever reasons you want. They can be good reasons or bad reasons or whatever. It's they are your reasons. If for whatever reason you're a night person, you're not a morning person, but for whatever reason you want to get up in the mornings, that's kind of identifying a gap between your natural self and your aspirational self. That particular one happens to be sort of task oriented, but others could be, should we say character oriented? You might feel of yourself that you are not very brave and you might like to be more brave. You might feel of yourself that you're an introvert and you might like to be an extrovert. Those are not task things, not really. Those are character. And it's not that introverts are bad and extroverts are good. They're just different. And so it's okay to have aspirations for yourself if they're based on things you simply want for yourself, for your own reasons. Where it gets a little dicey is where the reason one wants to be something other than one's natural self is because someone else thinks you should. And it could be explicit, like a partner, a boss, a parent, an instructor, a coach. Or it could be, I guess implicit would be the opposite. It could be implicit, like, in quotes, society might want you to wear makeup or be beautiful or be slim or trim your hair or wear a suit, when in fact you don't want to do these things. And we all have to interact with the rest of society. It's no one is forcing us to do a lot of these things, but there are consequences to not conforming to society's standards. So none of us are immune to the notion of other people wanting us to be a little different than who we are. Okay, the point that I want to make here is that wanting certain things about yourself to be different for your own reasons, for reasons that you come to yourself, I think that's pretty noble. I think it's okay to recognize that you might want to be different than you are in some way. And I think wanting to do that for for the reasons of other people in your life, or for society's reasons, it's not nearly as noble. If you can import those reasons into yourself, like if somebody else makes a suggestion to you about how to be better and you agree with it for your own reasons, not just to impress them, not just to get them to relate to you or react to you in the ways that you want, that's, you know, it's fine as long as those reasons are imported into your own. It's good to learn from other people. You don't have to have all the good ideas yourself. But from a spiritual point of view, there's another issue. And that is, if you're an introvert and you want to be an extrovert, is that you being inauthentic? And if it is you being inauthentic, is that bad? Is it bad to be inauthentic? We kind of generally think it is, but I'm not so sure. I think it's okay for a person to realize that there are parts of themselves that, through no fault of their own, just, you know, through the operating system that you came with, shall we say, there's parts of yourselves which aren't what you want, and that to be what you want to be, you may have to exert a little bit of influence over yourself, a little bit of force over yourself. I don't like the word force, but I don't mean force as in forcing yourself to do anything. I mean force as in effort. You might have to exert some effort over yourself, and it might be continuous, because you might actually not be who you want to be. Oh man, am I skating on thin ice here? Am I digging myself a hole by saying this? I don't think so. I actually believe quite deeply in what I'm saying here. The essence of which is, take a good look at yourself and recognize that you can cause your behaviors to be different from what they naturally are, and in doing so you can achieve something that you want. And as long as you are achieving something that you want for your own reasons, and as long as the result of achieving what you want for your own reasons is positive for you, that's a win. Some wins have costs, and the cost might be that you layer on an attribute to yourself that is not naturally there, and that layering on costs you. It doesn't happen naturally. But man, if you really like the result of that, you know, we started off with the really simple example about getting up in the morning. Maybe you really like yourself when you get up in the morning. Nothing to do with anybody else asking you to do it. If you're doing it for dad or something, not for yourself, then it's not so good. But if you're doing it for yourself and it's not natural, and you know if you let yourself go back to your natural tendencies, you wouldn't do that thing. But when you don't let yourself go back to your natural tendencies, and you exert influence over yourself and cause yourself to be a little different than you naturally would be, and you like the result, that's fair. That's a win. I expect this talk today to be a little more controversial than the previous ones, because not everyone agrees that exerting effort over your own life is right. Some people say, no, you're missing it, Dan. To be truly woke in this regard, you would simply accept yourself as you are. And my response to that really is that I feel I get a say in who I am, in the same way that someone who was, let's say, transgender, in some sense, gets a say in what their gender is, regardless of how they were born. And I feel when it comes to personality, it's the same thing. We get a say in developing our own character. We don't just have to sit with the character that emerged during our childhood. We get a say in that, I think. I hope this is a positive message for you. Maybe let me know in the comments, or if you see me in person, take me aside and let me know what you think. And hugs to everyone. If not in person, then online.